Come with us now, if you dare, down a rickety staircase into a dank, dark basement. What awaits? The Saturday Night Freak Show.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Saturday Night Freak Show podcast, the movie review and talk show podcast that comes your way every Saturday, whether you're ready for it or not, in our quest for total world domination. These are the Internet Radio Superstars.
John.
Michaela.
And I'm Colin. And tonight we watched the movie that was chosen by...
Michaela. What do we watch tonight?
We watched The Beekeeper.
From the year
2024. Fresh pick.
Adventure.
Yes.
Directed by...
David Ayer.
Okay.
The pedigree of this movie is kind of insane when you drill down into it.
It really is.
So
I know, I was watching those credits go by, and I'm like, oh.
So let's go over David Ayer first.
David Ayer. Okay, you know him, even if you don't think you know him, because you've seen one of his extremely divisive movies.
He's the guy who tatted up the Joker.
Yes, he ruined the Joker. He gave us Juggalo Joker. Yes, Suicide Squad.
Damaged.
Yes. He also loves propaganda. This guy, every movie he does is about cops on some adventure.
Doesn't he have some like service background?
I don't know.
I thought he did or something because
something.
Didn't he wrote U571?
Yes.
That was like based on either his experience or his dad's experience or something.
He also wrote Training Day, which is
this man comes from an era where, we're just like you liked going to the movie. You liked watching cops.
Yes.
From the Lethal Weapon days and everything, where cops were just like, it was the most interesting job in the world in an action movie.
It's just crazy to see like how the times change, but his filmography, the style of it doesn't.
Keep going.
He is locked in the year Training Day came out because he did Training Day and Street Kings, which is his first, which was his first collab with Kurt Wimmer, who wrote this. We'll get to him in a second.
Right.
Did that have Greg, not Greg Kinnear?
Kinnear or Kurt Wimmer is Equilibrium.
Yes.
The gun kata guy.
And previous episode Sphere. He wrote Sphere.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
And Ultraviolet. Remember that was, but he was a writer too. Okay, so David Ayer.
Yeah, we'll get to David Wimmer in a second, but he's written some of the worst movies you've ever seen.
Right. David Ayer did Fury?
He also did, so he starts with Training Day and I see the vision, right? Like I get where this guy's career wants to go, but then when you get to the modern day and you see Bright, which is also a cop movie,
Bright.
that is a cop movie.
Yeah. Well, that was after Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah, Suicide Squad, Bright, which was another poorly
Yeah.
received movie. Yeah.
Give me the quick one
End of
sentence
Watch.
of Bright.
And
which is an orc and a regular cop go after a wizard's wand.
Yes.
It was Alien Nation.
Yes.
You remember
Yes, it's
that,
Alien
except
Nation.
with fantasy characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he did write the OG Fast and the Furious script.
Right. Yeah.
So he's probably filthy rich just on that alone.
Just on that.
So,
But wait, Kurt Wimmer didn't do any of those, right?
No. So Kurt Wimmer wrote Sphere, like we said, previous episode. The Thomas Crown Affair, which is so weird.
I know, random.
Equilibrium, Ultraviolet. Stay tuned for Law Abiding Citizen. That's been on my list for a long time. Gerard Butler, Jamie Foxx movie, yes. Total Recall remake. The Point Break remake. The Children of the Corn 2019 remake.
Which he directed too. I think
and
that's
Expendables 4.
Yeah, that because he's only directed like 3: Equilibrium, Ultraviolet, and Children of the Corn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch the
Total
Recall remake?
Oh, I saw it. It was very forgivable.
But it's design. The design of it's cool. You know, it looks.
Is that Bryan Cranston and Colin Farrell?
Yeah.
Okay. Just like say
Jessica
that, and I'm
Biel.
like, I want to watch that.
Yeah.
But then you remember that Paul Verhoeven made the first one, and you're just like, what are we doing here?
Right.
Well, they make like there's a plot device in it that's not in the first one. That's just like what the, but whatever. I mean,
like a daughter or
stay
something.
tuned for that episode, I guess.
Ooh,
there's lots of content to mine between Kurt Wimmer and David Ayer.
That might be my next era.
Yeah.
Movies like Total Recall, the remakes and stuff. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So wait, which one of them? So we said Ayer did Fury. Who did Sabotage? Was it Sabotage with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Let me check.
Was that David Ayer?
It might have been.
Or maybe it was written by Kurt Wimmer, and then End of Watch, you said, was... I haven't seen that movie, but that movie has, like, a following. Like,
people love that movie.
End of Watch.
Yeah, that's Jake Gyllenhaal, right? And
was it Michael Pena?
Michael Pena, yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
But that's like got a big following.
Yeah.
So Wimmer Wimmer wrote one of the Expendables movies.
Yeah, Expendables 4.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in like the Statham orbit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
and listener, by the time you're listening to this, it's probably already out. A Working Man, Statham and David Ayer, with a script written by Sylvester Stallone, is coming out.
Okay, so Ayer directs.
A Working Man, and Stallone wrote it, and Statham's in it, and the tagline is "Human traffickers beware."
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to.
Well, it's going to be this movie just with a different exciting incident.
I can't wait for it. He's a construction worker in this one, so
but he's
lots
actually
of cool
wearing the hat.
Is he like a retired
I think so. Yes, I think
he's gotta be.
I think it's the exact same story, but human traffickers instead of elderly scammers.
So are there a lot of construction puns in that movie?
I bet you, and I bet you they use all those the construction tools, and
like
you
that big bucket. He's gonna swing that into someone's face. And,
someone's gonna go in the cement mixer. There's gonna be a big iron bar
on that hits the dude in the chin. Yep. Oh yeah, I can see it right now.
Sledgehammer action.
Oh yeah, maybe a bolt, like a bolt gun that's going to go in.
A nail gun, yes.
Well, that was so then, when you say that, I'm like, is Stallone still writing stuff, or are these like past scripts? Because Statham, right, was took Stallone's, was it Homefront? That was written by Stallone.
Homefront was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Stallone was supposed to be in it, and then he passed it off to Statham because I think they had met with the Expendables movies or whatever. It was like,
and all these action guys are hanging out. It's like, well, I can't do it, but if you put an action guy in an action movie, you can just do it. So do that. Okay.
Although I think Working Man's based on a book that came out in
it might be
like mid 2010.
But I like this trilogy of blue collar Statham movies we have going. We have the mechanic, and then we have the beekeeper, and soon we're gonna have a working man. I hope it keeps going forever.
Is a beekeeper a blue collar job?
I mean, compared to
okay, well, yeah,
a super spy. Yeah,
sure. I guess it is.
I mean, I like that you like to elevate beekeepers to being like a white collar job, but yeah.
Wow, this movie was something you were very high on.
Yeah, because it's been we've talked about it a few times.
Yes.
But she keeps saying, watch the beekeeper, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch it.
Right. And we refuse, and she's like, fuck you guys.
I'm bringing it.
I can do this. Yes. I will make you watch it. Which is understandable.
Yeah.
So you saw it in the theater?
No. So Holly and I went to see Thanksgiving, and we saw the trailer for this in front of Thanksgiving, and we were like, holy shit, we got to go see that. And then I never did until I was studying for our year-end episode. Then I watched it. So I watched it like 2 months ago. And I was like,
holy
oh my
shit,
God.
Stupid recommendation.
Yeah. I was like,
stupid fun?
Yeah. So I was like, it lived up to the trailer and to the hype. And okay. Did you guys think going into this that you would see this much actual beekeeping and beekeeping content?
No. That man is involved in his job.
Yeah, but that's also kind of, that is that's the overarching like hook to this, right?
Yes.
It's like they just take that mythology and go with it the whole way through the fucking movie, and you're like, I can't believe we're still doing this. This is the hive, and he's a worker bee that's protecting the hive, and some of them are queen slayer bees. Like, what the?
Even the title sequence, it's like old texts of like bees from like anthropology books, right? It's like old illustrations of bees.
Yeah.
And
they got the honeycomb for all the O's.
I was gonna say the font.
I saw that, and the font works with it. Which, if you're gonna do it, yes.
Yeah. And everything, unfortunately, does have like a piss-colored filter on it in this movie. Sometimes it looks
I would have said a golden hue, but piss color, sure, okay.
Sometimes it looks nice. Sometimes it looks a little like overdone.
I noticed that like the cityscapes and showing buildings. I'm like, those
all the windows,
the lights are all replaced with LEDs and all that shit. It wouldn't look that nice, and that golden hue.
The art direction, like those guys are like, we're gonna do. You got yellow
when someone told them this was the beekeeper, and they're like, all right, we have a theme for you. They were like, fuck yes. And
they've been waiting for an opportunity like this.
They loved it. They love a theme in which they can build around.
Yeah.
And they did.
Mm-hmm.
So the beekeeper comes from that genre we like to call John Wick adjacent.
Yes.
Okay, so is this movie John Wick?
It is, but this is the freak show version of John Wick, right?
Okay.
Because in John Wick, his cancer-ridden wife dies and leaves him a dog that is then murdered. Yeah. Hard to top that for sadness, right? So this movie's like, we're not even going to come close, so we're just going to go the opposite direction with it.
Yeah. We're going to establish a very intimate relationship between a beekeeper and the woman whose property he lives on.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is I'm always trying to figure out, like, I mean, this is a genre of movie that, like, whenever anybody does it, and they do a lot of them, you know, there's certain ones that do seem to catch hold with the public imagination, right? But I mean, this goes back, I was like, John Wick's not the first one of these.
No.
There's always like that guy who had the life, you know, in the service.
I mean, I guess you could say Death Wish, right?
I mean, the Schwarzenegger movies, like
Yeah.
Commando, right? Wasn't he? He was a commando and he was retired and living off in the, you know, and then they took his daughter and boom, you know, and.
But even like, I would even say Death Wish to a certain extent is that type of movie. He's not like superhero like he is in this one, but it's like the genesis of that theme.
Is a requirement of this that they were in the service or in some kind of they have some training.
It happens so often that yes,
it
is a requirement.
They have training, but they've retired, and now somebody fucks with their tranquil life, and then they go on the war.
Is always like, no, but they are drawn back into a life they have left behind.
The stakes are personal, and that's what gets them.
That is what has brought them back in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will get the Terminator.
Yes.
I mean, in all of these cases, right?
Yes.
These guys are the fucking Terminator. They don't feel pity or remorse or whatever, and they absolutely
will not stop
ever until you are dead. I mean,
everyone like we'll get into the Beekeeper lore because I have questions, but it's crazy how his mythology is so widespread, right? Everywhere he goes, I mean, granted, it's like Boston to DC, but they're like, once they hear about who it is, they're like, oh no, you're already dead. You're already dead. Plan your funeral now.
Yeah. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of.
It's like when Nosferatu came to town.
I don't know.
It's like, oh, he's on his way.
Yeah.
Did they have that like in the older movies? I mean, that was something that John Wick really built up, which was cool. You know,
right.
Baba Yaga. You know, like the everybody.
Sorry,
when
did they call him Baba Yaga in that
Baba
movie?
Yaga.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, this comes from someone who's never seen
because he used to
John Wick movie.
Like he worked with Russians or something like that.
Okay, so he was Baba Yaga.
He was Baba Yaga. He could kill you with a pencil. You know, I mean, so that's the idea, right? Is these guys they build up this myth about them. Just to mention their name makes everyone quake in terror. Like you're so fucked. But then that kind of like removes some stakes, right? It's like you just know that, well, we got to sit here for.
Okay, this is my problem with these types of movies. It's just like he goes through 90% of this movie without getting a scratch on him. And that's always my problem with, you know, a relatability to the character. Sometimes you have to be like, okay, this movie's called The Beekeeper, and there's bee puns to no end. You just kind of have to go with it. So I understand that. But still, like, you, depending on how long the movie is, you kind of lose interest because, like, all right, he's just going to kick everyone's ass and then get to the end. Like, okay.
But how is he going to kick everyone's ass? That's what we're here for, Sean.
Yeah, but
how is he kicking
that
ass?
is the action version of going to a horror movie just for the kills.
Yeah, for sure.
Basically.
For sure.
We go to these because I guess, like, you know, it's some kind of, like, because it's always they're balancing the scales. I mean, like this movie is very heavy on like there's a balance, and this guy is going to come and you know.
Sometimes
the idea that like and we used to watch Chuck Norris movies where he basically had this persona.
Steven Seagal did this as well.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
many
saying.
times.
Okay, I feel like if this movie came out in 1993, the Freak Show would love it.
Right.
You know?
This is what I have to. This is what I have to go with in my head. I'm just like, okay. We're just in a different era of the
JCVD
same
in this.
thing. Yes.
You know, it'd be
that's
amazing.
I think what makes you know I've seen other ones where maybe they take it too seriously. The Beekeeper is not right. Like it's playing into the fact that like okay, this is almost a parody of an action
played
movie.
with bees for so much of this movie.
So much, and there's like
so much,
so lovingly shot. Like the way it's photographed, him like taking care of his bees is like
it made me interested in like, all right, what is he doing here? Like, what is this? What's going on? He's scraping the comb. He's like, what is collecting the honey? If I think I only wanted him to make a honey bomb. Like he keeps carrying around that jar. I'm like, can this explode somehow?
Can I ask a question? In the trailer, didn't they say something about like how honey was flammable?
They said something. I'm pretty sure they said the line, "He has bee-based weapons."
That's not in the movie, though.
No.
And there was a scene in the movie where he doused someone with honey, threw a honey jar at her, and then lit her on fire.
Yeah.
Which I think is just a cut down of the scene we get where the other beekeeper comes after him.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That scene where I think in the trailer somehow it made it more explicit that it was like, this is honey and it's flammable.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to get you into this movie. Is like, oh, shit.
Yes.
So he's a beekeeper living the quiet life.
Now, okay. now, this man has no imagination. Because he stopped being a beekeeper and then became a beekeeper. No imagination with this man. It's like, I was programmed for this. I know nothing else. I must just continue with it, literally.
Well, see, this
is where I have a question. Like, what came first? Is it a chicken or the egg situation? Was he the government operative beekeeper first?
Yes.
And then he retired into beekeeping?
Because it was encoded into his brain.
So the other beekeepers aren't beekeepers.
See, I think they are.
No.
Everybody has a hive?
I think so.
No.
Okay.
They are not just off beekeeping. No,
I think it's part of the job.
But
I like this better that he's the only one who couldn't think past it. He's like,
I'm going to go take care of actual bees.
Yes, this is it. This is all I know. He is so ingrained and hardwired into this. He is a Terminator.
Yeah, but
he's the retired Terminator from the later Terminator movies. He's like, I know nothing else. I must be a beekeeper.
But they're missing, like, and I don't know if it would have made it better or worse, right? The Jason Bourne angle that he had been programmed, to be the perfect soldier, and then
he just
couldn't get out of it.
Right, he just didn't come to the realization.
Yeah. Because apparently no one ever took care of me. I'm thinking the beekeepers took care of you, and that's why you had this, like, respect for the hive.
Right.
Yeah.
But, okay. So he takes care of bees on a farm that's owned by Felicia Rashad.
Yes.
And she's the only person who's ever taken care of him. She invites him to dinner. They have a very frosty relationship. She's like, "Oh, you're a nice man," and all that. And he's like, this,
he's socially awkward.
He's socially awkward, but he's warming up. He's warming up as a person, especially to her, because again,
he doesn't know who he can trust. So he's got to.
It's been a whole life of never being able to trust anyone, and finally he finds someone who's caring and will let him again. She lets him live there. He does things for.
He's living in that barn, right?
He's living in that barn.
He lives in the barn.
Yeah.
So now, in order to kick off our rip-roaring rampage of revenge, right, we have to have an inciting incident, and so we don't have a daughter or his dog. In this one, we have Felicia Rashad.
Yep.
Who everybody likes, Felicia Rashad.
It's good casting.
So good casting. And the screenwriter, then Kurt Wimmer, has latched onto this, thing that's in the zeitgeist, right? And this is going to be the thing that sets us off. So what is that?
Phishing scams on the elderly.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, you said during this, like, I've never seen a call center. Not with the huge screen that's got the music channel visual representation of it. But I have seen these.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of just shit online, call centers and people who scam the scammers.
Yeah,
like they call you and then you just fuck with them until they get upset.
Right. I guess I've just always seen like the like typical cubicles and like it looks like like a nightclub. It is lit like they have a stage down the middle.
This is the Michael Bay version of this, but a scaled down version does exist of this. Yes.
It's like a stand-up comedy nightclub with desks in it. It's a really interesting setup.
Yeah.
I don't want to know any of the people who work at these places. Like
they do a good job of making you hate them, huh?
Yeah. They seem like the worst people in the world.
I think they are, right?
I mean, that's what attracts them to
wherever
this,
these folks are all based out of. It must be just easy money to be made off of people, and they're not being very secure in their knowledge of technology.
And that's it, because we see it every day.
Well, shit, I just got a thing from the tollway.
That's toll scams going around.
This is the thing that's been in the news lately. That's the new thing. They'll send you a text message. It's like, you had a toll that's unpaid, and now you will be shut down. Please go to this site, and then you're fucked.
So, in this movie, Felicia Rashad, a novice computer...
she gets a pop-up, says to call a number to unlock your account, and there's a lot of back and forth. And the thing that makes it extra sick is you cut to the call center a lot and you see how much they're like delighting in torturing this woman. Like the guy doing it is like putting on a show. He's on mic and showing his screen up on he's like presenting this scam in real time,
like a pyramid
as a learning experience for the other people.
Probably,
and it goes on for an uncomfortably long amount of time, doesn't it? This scam.
Yeah.
And there's a moment where you think she might not do it when she was like, well, maybe I should call the bank. And then no, she doesn't. She ends up, they end up installing like a malware on her device and she drains all of her accounts. But she's also like the notary on like a charity bank account that has $2 million. So as if just bankrupting herself isn't bad enough, she also is responsible for a charity losing all of its
savings.
money.
They take
the children's savings,
her life, her annuities. They take her life insurance. They take it
everything.
It's gone.
She's got nothing. And so, yes, Jason Statham is supposed to be coming over for dinner that night, but she is so distraught that she kills herself.
He should have saved that jar of honey. That was the jar of honey he was bringing to her.
Yeah, he had her name on it.
That should have gone with him to the end of this movie.
I think he used that on the other beekeeper.
He did. It should have stayed with him. And it should have meant more later on in the movie. If we cared about that, which the movie doesn't.
Yeah.
Because she's just here to kick off his rampage. That's the only reason she exists. Yeah. I mean, let's think about their relationship here. It's landlady and leasee. Like, this is really tenuous. Like when you look at the spectrum of John Wick, dead cancer wife, and dog, like this is nowhere near that temperature-wise. Yeah.
I would not be going this far. For my landlord.
Exactly.
But he just had to, she's the only person who ever actually took care of me. You know, he is found at the scene by a policewoman, FBI agent.
Yes.
Who turns out to be Felicia Rashad's daughter. Yes. Okay, I'm going to say that I was very confused about this character the entire way through the movie because of shifting what felt like, I'm like, whose side is she supposed to be on? I don't know if you guys had this or not. I thought that maybe there was an earlier draft of the script where she was not the daughter of Felicia Rashad. And then it kind of made more sense where she's an FBI agent who's assigned to this case, who finds out that there's more to it than she thought. And then she starts to go like, maybe this guy is right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That seems like the traditional arc.
Yes.
But they fuck that up by making her Felicia Rashad's daughter, which should give her a personal, a stake in
but does not come through in any of her acting.
No, this actress, I think, is a big part of the problem. I think that,
she's a big part of the problem, but I don't necessarily think that's her fault.
Maybe it's like the character,
it's
just
flimsy.
as it's written, is like, like in two places at once.
Yeah.
Right. So she's just saying. I mean, the lines in this are fucking hysterical.
That's why I was like, I got to bring this because, like,
she's badass FBI agent at certain points, and she's with her partner. Although some of that is funny, it's very entertaining, but
she didn't figure out like, okay, so Statham immediately goes like, I'm gonna find these fuckers and I'm gonna burn them all to the ground, and that is surprisingly easy to do.
Yeah. The first time I saw this movie, I was like, wow, we're rushing towards the third act really quickly here.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Real quick.
Because he gets to the call center, which is right down the street from her house, apparently.
Yeah, he's tipped off because he makes a call to like his old agency. They're like, oh shit,
the beekeepers.
Yeah,
then turn against him.
Yeah, he calls in a favor. You always have one favor when you get out of these secret societies. Yeah, and this one he pulls a phone.
You guys for? I wonder. We're gonna find out one day.
I think if you call, Igor just shows up instead, though.
Igor, ooze on them.
But he has a satellite phone hidden in his beehive rack that he pulls out.
I was wondering when he was going to start pulling out, because he's been pulling out honey and combs and everything. Like pull a thing up, a gun is in there.
Yep.
Pull up a thing, a phone is in there. This is what I was waiting for.
Yes. Calls in his favor from the beekeepers, get the identity, go to the call center, and he just walks in and, this is the gasoline cans. He walks in with gasoline cans and it's just like, you all can get the fuck out. I'm going to light this place on fire. Hit some people with phones and staplers.
Well, staplers are later.
Staplers are later.
This is like just phones.
Phones and laptop. There was the guy that got choked by a laptop. That was pretty gross. Yeah.
Right in the throat.
Yeah. And then he fell on it after that. That was, that one.
He's a one-man death machine, right? The Terminator has come to the building.
Yes. And he moves so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think a farmer showed up and sort of like,
he's wearing
like, what's going on?
Because he's wearing Carhartt all throughout this movie.
Carhartt and that fucking hat.
That's code. That's how we know he is on our side. He
Yes.
is
Blue
the
collar,
champion of the working
Of the common man,
Yes.
the working
Yeah.
man, yes.
He's out to give it to these fuckers, and so he does, and blows up their building.
Yes.
Indeed.
And then the plot thickens because, of course, these guys aren't working on their own. They
Right.
are working for someone else.
Logan Paul.
Yes. Josh Hutcherson is Logan Paul. Yes.
It really
It
is.
really is, yeah.
No, it is. He had to have looked.
Mhm.
Someone styled this man, Hutcherson, after Logan or Jake Paul. Because
Right,
it is
yeah.
too similar to not be.
Even some of the mannerisms are a little. The
Yes,
same
and
too,
I've been Logan Paul is in wrestling right
Yeah.
now, and I've been watching a lot of that. I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah.
right now. Like so much so that when we eventually have the hopeful downfall of Logan Paul, that Hutcherson will play him in the movie that shows his
That'd be
maybe,
great.
maybe.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
'Cause
the
he's
Saturday
very-
Night Freak Show
As soon as I
recommendation.
saw him, I'm like, that's fucking him. It's
Yeah.
perfect casting.
So, the guy who runs the call center survives the attack, and then he takes a crew after Statham, and they fucking, that was the moment they got a big rise of this a group as we watched it. Like, he broke my shit, I'm gonna break his.
Yeah.
And they fucking unload on his beehives.
And you see these hives explode. It is like it's like the pearls, Martha Wayne's pearls going down in the alley. You know.
They're like, oh shit, they turned it on now.
Yeah.
Yep, it's like, oh, shit's over now.
Mhm.
He's gonna kill you all. Don't fuck with the bees.
They had nothing to do with this.
Nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Innocent bees.
Mhm.
Yeah. So he fucks those guys up. He kills a bunch of them. He does it.
The bandsaw cuts the
Yeah.
guy's fingers off
He
and
hangs a dude. Yeah.
sword through the throat or something. Yeah.
Takes them all
no.
down.
Yeah.
No, what is he? No, he pulls the end of a shotgun off and shoves it
Yes.
through a guy's throat.
Yes.
So
As you do.
at this point, I think, right, the because it's like the FBI, the partner is like, your mom's house is on fire. So they go back to mom's house. And
They're
they're
very
like,
nonchalant about
Yeah.
everything.
it's like, all the dead guys here are the same people who were dead at the company. And is it here somewhere that she's like, oh shit, it might be that beekeeper.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, wasn't there a scene where they basically, like, they know each other and he's like, I'm going to take care of this or something
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So she's a little slow on the
Yes.
uptake.
Yeah.
A tad, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're following two plot threads, right? Which is the FBI is trying to figure out, like, who his next target's going to be. And then, of course, there's the reveal that, like, he was a beekeeper.
A beekeeper?
Okay.
Which I love that the movie doesn't add another term or like add any explanation. It's just inflection. Minnie Driver literally is like, you mean a beekeeper? It's like the official head of the operation is saying that.
Yes.
So there's no other name for it.
Because
No,
Jeremy
that's
Irons is in this movie.
Jeremy Irons is in this movie.
Playing an Alfred to Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Basically.
So he's
Yeah.
the former head of the CIA
Yes.
who is now taken up running
Personal
this,
security
Yes.
Yeah.
for
So
the Danforth family,
right.
which is the family who is Logan Paul Hutcherson and his mother, who is revealed later.
Mhm.
We'll find out.
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
Right.
get to that.
Mm-hmm.
So what is okay, so we've been talking about like a beekeeper and you've been hearing us and you're like, yeah, beekeeper is a guy who raises bees. But no. What is a
No,
beekeeper?
he raises hell.
It is a secret government operative that exists to maintain order and like the status quo.
Yes.
Keep the hive alive, basically.
It is outside the system.
outside the system, and did they say they have like immunity or like basically there's no boundaries on them?
They
is what
are.
it sounded
It
like.
is left to their own, each
Yeah.
beekeeper's own judgment.
They're
Yes.
like Judge Dredd.
Yes.
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 There you go.
Yes.
That's a great
Yeah.
equivalent.
But underground and like no one
Yes.
talks about it.
Yeah.
Not
So
anything
but
else.
then
Yeah.
you go like, okay, so they're
if you
granted all this.
end up knowing about a beekeeper, you're
It's
fucked.
too late. It's
Yeah.
too late.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's everybody speaks in hushed tones about,
Yeah.
oh shit, you've
Yeah.
gotten us into it now, kid. You've kicked the hornet's nest.
How many
know?
times do you think they said to protect the hive in this movie? Because
To
like
protect the hive, and you can't. Oh, you got to stop saying "kick the hornet's nest" because it's "kick the beehive."
Yeah.
Kick the
It's
beehive.
what they
Sorry.
keep saying.
Yeah, that's right. You
Because
kicked the
yeah.
because like they even say it when Jeremy Irons is lecturing the beekeepers. Like when he's explaining what a beekeeper is, he's like, your job is to protect the hive. And it's like they take that like it's a specific directive action.
Oh no,
You
it
know?
is like that's got to be. That was like day one of the PowerPoint. It's just like,
The
all right,
programming.
we have directives. Number one,
Protect the
RoboCop, protect the hive. Number 2, the hive equals.
Yeah.
The country. It's the country, I think,
Yeah.
right? So,
it's very broad.
it's very broad. So, I mean, how they have immunity, I don't know. I mean, like, he's looked at his
They're
name
badass enough where they just come
And
out
they-
of immunity.
Clay
They
or
all wear
something in this.
Carhartts too.
Yeah,
Right.
so he's like, I mean, whenever they pull up, he's got a fake identity, like whatever.
Does Carhartt make flak jackets? They should.
Yeah.
Tactical tactical Carhartt.
Well, like that scene where they're like,
Outerwear.
"Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm currently known as
Yeah.
Adam Clay." Yeah, I love that.
So the Beekeepers, which is run by Minnie Driver,
Yes.
I think, right, in Washington, right?
You know, blink and you miss it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
scene
not
in
in
this
it
movie.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she basically is the intermediary between, like, she can contact this shadowy group.
Yes.
And so they decide, because this guy is retired, he's out of the program, and he's gone off the reservation, we're going to send a beekeeper after him. Now, this is where David Ayer, like, it's, see, these are the reasons I guess you watch David Ayer
We need
movies.
the most audacious beekeeper you can find.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh
'Cause
my
it's like,
God.
otherwise, it's like, okay, it kind of looks like, reality in your standard action movie.
You think
and then
stealth
somebody
would
shows
be
up.
an option?
Yeah.
It's not.
I was just gonna say because Statham is stealthy about
Yeah.
everything he does, and
Yeah.
he dresses
He's
like
trying.
a working man to blend
Yeah.
in.
Yep.
Like it's all part of the thing. Opposite approach here.
Opposite approach.
I'm gonna wear the loudest future punk outfit I can.
It is. It's
Yeah.
future punk. It's,
Yeah.
It is big hair within a mohawk. It is
Yeah.
it is a pink trench coat.
Yes.
It is just loudness and brashness. And
Even her plan here was, I'm gonna crash into his car.
Yeah.
Right, and
it's
I
like
have-
these guys are stealth operatives, but no, she's just
No.
going
She's
to
a
ram
wild
into
card.
his car.
No, she's
at
a
gas
she's a
station.
battering ram of
Yeah.
a person with a minigun in the back of a truck. Like
Yeah.
just like how you
What,
think they
didn't
would?
she have like some big ass fucking gun
Yeah.
that she came out with? And was
She
like,
did.
and couldn't hit the guy.
Couldn't hit. No, because no one can hit Statham.
I mean, he can kill you with, his
pinky.
fist. Yeah,
Yeah.
she has to unload and can't hit a single thing with their gun, and then
This is how good he is. This is the spectrum that we have to show. This is the juxtaposition. He can slap you in the throat and you're dead. She has to come in with full artillery to try and kill him. This is how much of a badass he is.
But I think this is a mistake in
I agree.
the movie. Well, I mean, just that, like, it's like, well, the beekeepers are sending another beekeeper to take care of the problem. And
This
then
happens in Bourne movies, by the way.
and she basically, he just, he kills her like flat. This is the one that he throws the flammable
He likes
honey
to
at
burn
and set
people?
her on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But then second explosion too. The gas station explodes.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Mhm.
But shouldn't they have saved the other beekeeper for a character at the end of the movie?
I mean, yes, but also this movie has like 3 other plots going.
There's
I know,
no-
but this is
there's-
just weird,
But yes,
because
the guy dressed in yellow and black
Yeah,
should have been a beekeeper
right.
at
Okay,
the
there
end
you
of
go.
the movie.
Okay, but that guy was in yellow and black because he was wearing a yellow jacket. Because it's like a yellow jacket. They kill bees.
I'm gonna go.
I didn't make that up. That's the movie. That's the IMDb trivia.
I
telling
know.
me that.
I know. Wow.
We'll get to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
The South African bee comes
Yeah.
in.
yeah.
And says-
Yeah, one of those African killer bees.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's what it is!
Okay, do we?
Okay,
Oh,
holy
no,
shit,
no,
that's
Do
amazing.
we really think they thought about that?
It's very
Because I
possible.
think
I
they
think
thought
they
about
did.
it.
I think they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that goes along
Yeah.
with the tone of this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's,
Okay,
Oh my God.
I'm appreciating this movie more
Yeah.
as we discuss it.
The commitment to the bee theme is there.
Yeah.
It really is.
So, so the second beekeeper idea of sending one, like, she's taken out of the picture,
Yeah.
and then Minnie Driver's like, okay, I talked to the beekeepers, and they're out. You have to
said,
deal with
"Fuck
this
that."
Right, they're
on your
remain
own.
neutral for the rest
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
So Jeremy
Good for them.
Irons then tasked with saving the life of Josh Hutcherson.
Yes.
Right. Then he goes and he calls in all these like former, or maybe they're active. No, they're not active duty.
They're like mercenaries.
former
Yeah,
mercenaries.
SEAL
Yeah.
Team 6, and
Yeah.
he names a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he gives us the lesson
Mhm.
on the structure of the hive and the significance of the bee, the beekeeper, the bee slayer,
Yeah.
protecting the. Okay.
Going after the queen. what have
And this
you.
whole movie, the daughter FBI agent has a book called keeping for beekeepers that was in his was that in the explosion he left behind?
It's from her.
The other beekeepers.
Yes,
the other beekeepers. Okay,
that is in case you have to go after a rogue beekeeper. This is what you need to do.
But
that is their booklet.
This booklet pops up every 20 minutes to explain another bee fact that is going to be relevant later on.
Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's wonderful.
So the daughter, FBI agent, like basically I was like watching, I'm like, okay, so what is she doing in, her scenes? And it would always be like her and her partner arrive at the scene of something has just happened. And then they learn more about the this was connected to the Danforth organization or whatever. So they're learning that.
There's questioning. There's smart ass back and forth. They learn a fact that leads them to the next scene, in which they will also walk into a scene, question what's going on, have smart ass back and forth, learn one thing, and then move on to the next thing.
Yep.
That happens a couple times. Repeat. Yes.
They eventually get called before the FBI assistant director or whatever.
Yeah,
no, that comes later because we have to tie this in on, pardon me, like who this all connects to.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we're there
which
yet.
it connects to most people within the government of this movie.
Right. Well, they haven't figured that out yet because I guess our next big action scene that we're heading towards is everybody realizes that, okay, these scammers, right, had an office in wherever the hell that was, Springfield, and then they have multiple offices. I do like the fact that the scammers who scammed Felicia Rashad are like in the city, like she's in the country, they're in the city.
Yeah.
He just has to go into the city and get them.
Yep.
But the next one's in like Boston.
Yes.
Okay, so he's on his way to Boston to this heavily armored fortress of a building.
Yep.
Where another one of these like disco call center things exist.
Yes.
Only this guy has a little different vibe. The guy who runs it, then
He's got a suit that just says "goat." All over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He feels like a Grand Theft Auto character.
Oh, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, that is the equivalent of this. Not a Grand Theft Auto.
So, if I'm remembering this right, it's like the army shows up.
And they're like, you got to evacuate everybody. He's targeting this building.
Because he is basically committing crimes, I suppose. He's committing arson. There's a body count.
Well, he's retired, too.
We
doesn't have the, the green light on this action.
Right.
But we have FBI who shows up, who also runs into a different organization, which is Secret Service. Is it Secret Service, or does that come later?
These are the private security guys who are the SEAL Team 6 and all that
Yes.
Jeremy Irons was talking to. That's those guys.
Okay.
And so there's like, some of them are going to form a perimeter outside the building, and the other guys are inside the call center.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, there's no way that Statham's getting in there.
Unless he just walks up to it and says, "Hey, I'm here," and then walks in.
He tries the Josh Hartnett and Trap routine of, if I just pretend like I'm a normal citizen and ask questions, people will just let me do things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've and maybe this just comes from working news. I've seen enough shit where if this guy really walked up to an FBI tactical squad, they would have had him on the ground so fast with his arm behind his back.
But this is Jason Statham.
Right.
I mean,
but they let the conversation go on for so long. Who knows how many boundaries he had to cross to get to them, but whatever.
He takes them all out. And
if you'd pull back 10 feet.
Yeah. Well, they do. They have the overhead.
Okay, but they don't. They show it for like 2 seconds. Now, this is because that's the camera angle I wanted to watch. Because my whole problem with this is if you pull back and with one of these guys just backs up 2 feet and looks at what's going on, he's like, boom. And can shoot him and kill him.
They're all too close. That's the problem. So he could just, and they're all gone. He's like, how many guns? He like takes out somebody's hands and just takes them apart.
Yeah,
like,
you notice he's like aversive to guns. Like he doesn't use them unless he has to, and he gets them off somebody else. Like he doesn't have his own guns.
I thought that when they said something to the effect earlier, like he killed 7 guys and didn't shoot a single person.
Yeah.
But later on, he was pretty liberal with like shooting people, and then he was shooting.
But I don't
like the army, and I'm like.
The problem is he's shooting good guys, bad guys, like it's indiscriminate.
But they had bulletproof vests because they were all wiggling around afterwards. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
But that's like barely mentioned within that.
I think the thing is that he's so blind with anger and rage because of his landlady, yes, that he's just like anybody that gets in his way.
It is like he has a mission, and anyone, it doesn't matter what side of the line you're on, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He is going to take you out. Mm-hmm. Which I guess like, is he a hero? I mean, like,
this is
the
also,
army captain
this is my simple brain working on this. I'm like, I think I want something a little more clear cut. Like, because if he's just shooting good guys and bad guys with indiscriminate whatever, like.
Well, I think he was. I do think the movie was trying to go with like, well, seeing all those guys wiggling around, they had body armor, so he still shot them, but they survived. He didn't kill any of them. All the guys that he kills
it has been done more delicately and better.
Yeah. Okay. So,
but I think the point is, like, that is not their concern. That is not their concentration in this movie of the filmmakers.
So. He discovers something when he takes, because of course he destroys this building too. I think she actually, this is where the partner actually gets in there, or not the partner, the daughter, the FBI agent is there. Everybody shows up at this location because they know he's coming.
Yeah, and the way he sneaks into the crowd because they're all cheering for their boss, and the way he just sneaks in behind somebody like it's the SNL closing thing, and he's just clapping.
Right,
it's like if nobody, like they have pictures, they have pictures right on your desk. If you see this man, tell someone.
Right.
And I love that
someone looks at him and then looks at that picture. It's just like, oh shit.
Yes. I love how he's like, time to bust out my acting skills. We're all going to clap.
Right. Yeah. He is the stealthiest motherfucker.
I know. I love it. I love the confidence to just walk into a crowd and blend in. Yeah. No one will notice.
Only Statham.
Only Statham.
I mean, he is like in some kind of rarefied air, right? As like, well, there's like him.
He can do this in every one of his movies.
Is there like him and The Rock? I mean, The Rock seems more versatile in some ways. He's
because Statham's not doing kids movies, or family movies.
I mean, is The Rock doing them anymore?
Yeah,
that's like all he does now, right?
Like what?
Well,
all the Jumanji movies.
Oh, those,
well, that's not a kids movie.
That's a family movie. That's not for it's for
more,
adults.
Okay, you're right. More family movie. I don't like The Rock.
Right, were they Hobbs and Shaw? Right? Wasn't he like in the Fast in the yeah? That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So Anyway, so the daughter, right? Like I'm like at this point, is she on his side because she knows that he is avenging her mother? There are scenes in this movie where she doesn't say that out loud, and you're like.
In which it would be helpful to say it out loud.
Okay, there's a scene where is it the deputy from the FBI or something?
Oh, yeah, he's like the number 2 of the FBI.
Yeah, the number 2 is talking to her and her partner.
This is a man who obviously knows that the president or her family is involved. He knows of the beekeepers.
Well, this is the revelation that comes out of this, right?
Yes,
that it is the president. Is the head of the company. It's her family company is managing all of these sub companies that have been ripping people off. Yes. And the money that like she got elected on actually was stolen from all these elderly people. And that's how she got elected. Does she know about this? I don't know. But her son is Josh Hutcherson, who's running it. So the daughter and the partner try to explain this to the director of the FBI. That's the scene.
Yes. And he says, well, why would he be doing this? And in our heads, we're all thinking she's going to say, well, he killed my mom.
Yeah.
Because she got scammed out of money. Instead, she says, he's a beekeeper. He protects the hive.
And we're like, what the
kind of what he
fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Right. You're just hoping that means something.
And he accepts that as an answer. Everyone in this universe is just like, I know exactly what that means.
Because when they mentioned it earlier, he had the look of like, they
shit,
know about
the beekeepers.
It's the beekeeper program.
Yeah.
So he knows about it, so he's more accepting of the fact. But yeah, she is just saying things that no one should know what she's talking about.
Right.
Rather than saying the simple explanation, hey, someone killed my mom, and this is the process of that.
And so she has determined, correctly, I might add, that the beekeeper is one of those queen slayer bees, and that he may be trying
to that book.
Kill the president of the United States because she, as a queen bee, had a defective offspring, which would be Josh Hutcherson. because that's what or queen slayers bees do. I didn't know this, but now I'm going to look it up.
You know so much about bees now after watching.
Yeah,
So it's educational.
Yeah. I trust Kurt Wimmer. He looked it up.
Oh no, I believe
it too.
I believe this shit happens in the bee world.
In the bee world.
I just love how far they take it.
The application to this world is where I'm a little iffy. But.
So, all right. So we're going to our big the third act, right? Because Jeremy Irons is still in this movie, and he is going to protect the president. So what? Yeah, where are we going? How is he going to nail his quarry?
So Josh Hutcherson, his president mom, the second at the FBI, and Jeremy Irons are all at one of their houses, right?
It's their house.
Yeah, and they're hosting some sort of
coast.
Yeah. And they're she did say Josh is going with me to the Hamptons. Remember that was a whole thing.
Right.
She was like, come spend time with me.
Like,
yeah.
No drugs.
Yeah.
And then
he brings all his weirdo friends, and it's like,
all my crypto bros are gonna come with me. Yeah. That's fine, right?
And it's like, as much as he is Logan Paul, he is also Hunter Biden. Like, that's who this character is supposed to be 100%.
Hey, if we're gonna get in this world, let's be equal.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. And
this all did start with a laptop.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, so Statham determines to sneak into this house. He goes through the sewer, pops up through a manhole. Where did he get the skateboard from? Did we see that?
It was in his backpack.
He pops up. Like, okay,
it's so cartoony. I love it.
There are 50 SEAL teams securing the area, welding
semi trucks,
manholes shut, and Statham can just saw through an opening in the drain pipe somewhere.
Yeah. He brings a tool.
He had a big thing he clamped on, and
and just busts open. That's fine. It's fine. The acceptance of all of this.
Do you not watch action movies? You buy into concepts like this all the time with action. This is what they're meant to do.
I know this was actually, but these. I mean, it's like so stupid. But you're sitting there going like, this was actually like a cool part of the movie.
Yeah.
Like how he like gets up underneath the drivetrain, right, of the
it's my favorite part.
Transmission of the
I'm just fighting with my believability.
Okay, but to get
a skateboard,
but like you don't suspend your disbelief for movies. Like this is not asking that much suspension.
No, I do. I find it to tell you the truth, I usually avoid these movies, like, because I know.
But if it was a 1993 movie, like Time Cop,
I'm willing to do that for an older movie because I'm in my mind, and this is all me. This is nothing to do with the movies, or you can. In my mind, it's from the past. They didn't know what they were doing.
Oh.
It's a little more believable that it's a little ridiculous in these older action movies.
I know what you're talking about, because I mean, I have that is like a weird.
And what I try to do is I am getting better at this and trying to be like what you say. Mm-hmm. If this happened 20 years ago, I'd be more accepting of it. Of these circumstances and what these people are able to do.
But it is when you watch these, this is the way I watched them back then. You took them as they were, and it's only later you look back on them and go like, these are fucking ridiculous. Yeah. So what we're trying to do here,
everything and looking
we're going like, no, we're looking at it as it's ridiculous right now as it's happening.
Yes.
For a more enjoyable experience.
Yeah. And so the accepting comes. Instead of it coming off the bat, it comes later for me. Yeah. And it's a whole weird process.
It sounds like you're really overcomplicating the movie watching process, to be honest. This is a shut your brain off and enjoy it.
I usually just skip them because I know I'm going to go through this, and I know it doesn't make sense necessarily, but I have a problem with just action for action's sake. This is why I haven't watched John Wick movies, because I don't know.
They're better than this. I'll tell you.
But that's the thing. I'm not gonna wade through them or give them the chance. I just skip past them because it becomes noise for me, and I have a problem with that. But
anyways,
that's why I wait for you guys to bring them to me.
He climbs out of the manhole with the skateboard. Skateboard's under what, like 3 or 4 18-wheelers? Like, why is he going so far? Why not just hop on the first one? Like,
because you figure it's going to take you in. Well, he knew that they were going to go underneath. Like another guy on a skateboard comes, a Secret Service agent.
Look underneath, And I love that the Secret Service is having someone just slide on a skateboard with a mirror underneath the trucks or something. I love
Looking
it.
For bombs.
Yep. So he climbs up in the undercarriage of this semi when the other skateboard guy comes by, he chokes him out and then switches places with him and
Just
changes
tucks him up under
clothes.
there. Yep.
And changes clothes.
And changes clothes.
They both change clothes, right? He had to swap and redress him and put him up there.
It's brilliant.
All under a semi and nobody notices.
Within 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I know, but the thing that, there's guys walking. It's a good thing they're all walking very close to the truck because if they were just
would see it.
5 feet, they'd see all this happening.
Yes.
Rambo could do it. I mean,
Now,
I believe
you
Statham
can
could do it.
dismiss that. I have a problem dismissing that. That is the me problem of this whole thing.
Well, that's where, I mean, like, I don't know, like action movies kind of live in this.
They're like they're cartoons.
Yeah.
They're all like this.
I mean, we like, that's why I think, like, when, to me, like, an antidote for that was Die Hard. When Die Hard came out, you had all these kind of, the Schwarzenegger movies, the Chuck Norris movies were unrealistic like this. And Die Hard, all it had to do was go like, this guy can actually get hurt.
Right.
Right. And then it was like a whole, and so,
that's what I was thinking.
I think you still see that a little bit in movies now.
Which part?
The like, a not entirely infallible hero.
That's what I'm looking for, and that's
Actually,
what
I'm trying to think of an example. But
give me two,
because all the Marvel movies don't.
The Fast and the Furious movies, no one ever gets hurt or dies.
There was my favorite Mission Impossible movie was, I think, Ghost Protocol, where they at least did kind of have that, like, like, oh shit, I could die doing this, where they don't in any of the other ones. It's just superheroes, but. Okay, that's a digression. I'm sorry. So he swaps, and then now dressed as a Secret Service agent.
Just blends in with the crowd.
He's got more outfit changes than Beyonce at a concert.
Yeah. But what he doesn't know is that the bad guys have recruited the South African
killer bee. Yeah.
Who looks like Ron Perlman.
I looked this guy up, and apparently he's like just an actor. I was like, if I would bet money he was an MMA fighter or a wrestler or something, just but the styling is so
like you
loud.
said, like it feels like he's supposed to look like someone or be someone, or like there's supposed to be more to him.
Well, he's a very loud personality type, like you would cast Conor McGregor in this part or something like that.
Like this part felt like it should be for someone who, as soon as they show up on screen, you're like, oh, I know who that is, but it's not.
He was in that Vikings TV show.
Okay,
and like he's in a lot of Zack Snyder stuff as like an extra. So and David Ayer stuff as an extra. So
he's getting his big role here.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Taylor James.
Okay, so there you go.
He's from South Africa. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's South African. Yeah. You can tell.
So
South Africa.
But so then I'm going like, okay, this is a David Ayer thing. Like, right, this script would have been different if David Ayer didn't do it. David Ayer is bringing these, like, okay, for this character right here, we're going to make him this like gaudy, South African bounty hunter dude.
Right.
Who just shows up angrily yelling in a scene. And we're all like, wait, what? Who is he supposed to be someone? Because they introduce him like he should be.
Yeah. He's had experience with the beekeepers. He killed one before.
He killed one, but he also lost a leg in the middle of all that, which is what you should.
Yeah.
It's good. That is good storytelling. It's like, I came up against one once. Lost a fucking leg.
I kind of wish he had like bee tattoos on his face, like under his eye, to be like
maybe he killed like two. And he's got like bee. Yeah.
No, he gets a bee for each beekeeper he kills. Under his eye. Yeah, I wish he had that.
A fucking honeycomb.
Yeah, there you go. Honeycomb, and then he fills it in when he kills him.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Could have done it.
Statham, now having infiltrated the party as a Secret Service agent in disguise, he then changes into his tactical wardrobe.
He's I think he has Vans on. Yeah, he had sneakers and like a suit jacket.
Yeah.
Because he's going to enjoy the party for a little bit first before he fucks it all.
That's right. He's left the Carhartt long behind. Now he is infiltrating in his sharp suit.
Yeah, he's not the everyman anymore.
He's got to blend in with the elites. He's got to blend in with the elites here.
He's not working anymore. Yeah.
So, did he intentionally tip off the daughter FBI agent?
I think so. So it seemed like.
So she would lead every single security personnel out into the garden where they're like, freeze right there, hands behind your head. And you're like, again, like, does she want him to succeed in this mission or not?
Because they're going to execute him right there in front of everybody.
Yeah, because Jeremy Irons is there and he's given the guy the go-ahead. You can shoot this guy right in front of all the guests.
Yes.
There was that scene in the hotel lobby or whatever, the elevator where they were shooting at him, and like they're just trying to kill him. Like, there's no arresting here. Just kill this guy.
Nope.
But the beekeeper has something up his sleeve or in the folds of his fingers.
Yeah, is that what, a detonator? And he blows up the house?
No, he blows up the cars.
The cars.
Lined up front because he planted explosives on the wheels.
Yep. Lots of explosions in this movie.
To distract the South African bee.
So he can and take his gun and then shoot him. And we're like, oh my God, he killed him pretty quick. But the guy's not dead. He's still in the game.
No, because he's your sub-boss before the big boss.
Yep. So Statham is able to take out basically everybody on the way to the room where
and it's up like a big staircase. He's going like 3 floors up this staircase and meeting people on the stairs all the way up, throwing them over the ledge, shoving them into the wall. It's pretty awesome.
So then you go like, okay, was it Chad Starensky? What's the guy that John Wick? There's 2 guys, right? For the listener at home who's like comparing this in their head, how does the action stunt work in this compare to like a John Wick or Atomic Blonde?
I feel like it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
feel like there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
This movie had what was considered a cheap budget. It's $35 million. So that's why the explosions look the way they do.
And Sean, having not seen a John Wick movie, how was the?
So I'm relaying to you guys. The action.
Yeah.
Good.
And stunt work and all that. It's like how you shoot it and cover it and cut it.
It's good. If you get past the problem where you're just like, someone should be able to shoot him at some point. Yeah, it's good.
We skipped over a really good stunt earlier is when he finally kills the head guy at the first call center. He ties him to a pickup truck and then sends a pickup truck off a bridge. And the guy's little dummy flailing around behind the car.
The dummy being launched.
It was
very
awesome,
good.
Yeah.
Because he's on like a leash. It's not like tied right to the truck. He's on like a leash.
No, that was the last part where I was just like, all right, I like what he's doing. Because it's just like, that feels like he should have kept doing that throughout the thing. And we get more just like bullets flying action scenes. This felt more personal because he's just like, I chopped off your fingers. Now I'm coming here to ratchet you down and then drive you off a bridge.
I like too that he timed it for when because it was like a drawbridge or whatever.
Yes.
He timed it for when the drawbridge was up, and then by the time it was like he was done and ready to pull out of his car, you see a shot of him pulling out of his parking spot right as the bridge goes down. He's so considerate. He didn't hold up traffic or anything.
That felt like more timing and putting everything together. I like that. That was good.
So, the president, I guess, she is coming to because I guess the whole thing, it's like obviously her son is a jagoff and is into something. She doesn't seem to know exactly what. And so now is the big moment where she's basically finding out that, oh my God, my son has gone and done this, stolen from people, and all the money that I got elected on was stolen. And so she's having a crisis of faith.
And she's saying, this is the most unbelievable part of this movie for me, is when she's talking about how she will like stand by what's right and by her country and won't like protect her son. I was like, I don't believe this.
I don't know.
I don't believe any of this.
I don't know who they're doing this for, to have this character do this.
Right.
Because none of it is believable that you would have a whole family business in which you've built your whole life on.
Yeah.
That you had to give up before you went into office. That you wouldn't know what was going on, that you wouldn't know where your campaign dollars were coming from to get you into office. There's so much of this that she can't, there's no plausible deniability within this role.
And I think
she knows she's going to lose everything, but she's going to turn him in, but it's the right thing to do. I forgot that there was a point, like, so her company had developed some kind of data mining, hacking program that was used by the CIA on terrorists, but her son had gotten a hold of it and has been now using that.
It doesn't find terrorists; it finds money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you didn't hear that.
Yep.
So what I thought they were doing there was like, okay, so they're making her. She's basically putting herself in a position where he's gonna kill her, right? Like you're making her a target of her son. Because her son is like coked up, desperate, like I gotta
trying to make her not guilty, which doesn't matter necessarily. We see no aftermath of this. It doesn't matter if she knows or not, or if she dies or not at this point.
But that's what I guess the beekeeper, like I thought, and the characters in the movie seem to think that she's a target, but turns out she really isn't. In the way the movie shakes out, because I think they give her this moral out.
Right, but does he know that?
He doesn't, so he should have killed her. Yeah,
that's the problem. He should have this whole thing. He's going after the problem. She is his target.
Yeah,
throughout this, even if he is a sub target, and he will.
I mean, I guess her political career is over, so maybe he's killed that. I suppose.
Well, I think their hand wavy way of dealing with it is they talk about how she transferred ownership of the company to her son. Yeah. I think the beekeeper perspective is like, okay, so you own the business. When it killed my landlady, I'm coming after you.
Yep. So there's a tense showdown.
Flimsy.
He doesn't actually kill Jeremy Irons, does he?
I don't think so.
He breaks his hand and shoves him off to the side, and then he's gone, isn't he? And Jeremy Irons should have blown up at that door, which I thought was going to happen.
Yeah. And so Statham goes in there, and there's like a bunch of everybody. And then the daughter shows up, and so there's the big question, which I never really. I guess maybe that to me was like I never, even though there were multiple times where she's pointing a gun at him, stop right there, don't do it. I think it happens like 3 times in the movie. She's got him dead to rights. She always lets him go. So there's no real tension that like she's going to let him go. You know. He does kill Josh Hutcherson because movies have to justify this. Josh Hutcherson was going to shoot his mom,
right? Yeah. And he did shoot a quote unquote innocent.
Yep.
FBI.
Yep. But they always have to pull the gun, like in order to justify like the hero killing him. It has to be.
It's called the George Lucas Greedo law. You know, you have to make sure the bad guy shoots first. You can't have the good guy shooting first.
Should we do a small commercial right now and say, go watch the original Star Wars on Cinema Box?
Well, it's still there. Go while it's still there. Go.
I watched it.
Run.
Look great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, those copies have been like around for a while. They just finally, torrents.
Put one on streaming.
Yeah, but Disney won't put it on streaming. There's nowhere you can actively seek it out to watch it, though. That's the thing.
You can right now.
They're on torrents. There's all these guys like digitizing original prints.
The despecialized version. Yeah. But we digress.
So with the main bad guy taking,
it should have been a bigger moment that Josh Hutcherson got killed, because you can make bigger moment. Like it just felt like they should have been a bigger moment, like a swelling of music, a showdown, or a zinger, a one-liner, or just something. Like they used to be able to do this better. That's the other reason why I like the old action movie, because at least they had a good.
Did you miss all the bee-based puns in this entire movie?
Yeah, but they didn't keep it going for the scene where it should have been
But was all that energy expended on which we didn't even talk about, the fight with the Yellow Jacket? South African dude, right? Because that goes on forever.
Yes,
that's where Statham gets stabbed in the stomach and should be dying.
It's so, and all that is like, because the guy scores a couple knife hits on him and stuff like that. It's like, so the fact that Statham is this is the first time in the movie, I think, that he has been injured at all.
Yes.
It's establishing the stakes that like, oh my God, he has finally met his match. This guy is like the one who could take down the beekeeper. But no, he stabs the fuck out of that.
It's a hallway. It's a hallway of like glass windows and mirrors, and that's pretty cool. But
it's pretty cool.
But it goes on for probably like 3 minutes. It was really
like
long.
Your centerpiece.
Yeah.
Like fight scene. But having dealt with the immediate foe, so that's like the big moment. Then Josh Hutcherson is like, okay, I'm fine, and we got you. Then he jumps out the window. Like he can run faster than bullets. It's amazing.
Yes,
he really can.
Dives out the window. Before he dives out the window, he looks out to the ocean though, and gives us a hint of what his plan might be. So he dives out the window. Then he doesn't go back through the sewer, right? He just goes down the bank. I think. Yeah. And he's stabbed, by the way, and then he like tourniquets his arm, but does nothing about that open gut wound.
The gut wound he's got that's going to bleed into the ocean and attract
It's
50 shards. That's how we get the Meg.
Yeah.
That knife goes in through organs.
And he digs up his buried backpack on the beach, which is full of
has another
gear.
backpack in it full of other.
It's scuba gear. He digs it up. Scuba gear, puts it on, and scuba himself into the ocean. Credits.
He scuba Steve's out of there, and it's fucking over.
Until the sequel.
It's in production.
Is it?
Yes, there's
because
a Beekeeper sequel.
Did this movie do well?
Oh, yeah. So his budget was 34, and it made 140, something like that.
150 something million.
Yeah, it made a lot of money.
But that means that there is an appetite for these types of movies. The guy who will stand up and works outside the law to make sure right and wrong are balanced.
Working Man, our next one.
Working Man coming soon or out now in theaters. All right, so we're going to go around the table and tell you what we thought of The Beekeeper. But before we do that, we're going to read some of your mail. And in order to do that, we're going to have to summon our mailman, Igor. Bring us the mail.
Masters, the mail. I've got the mail. So many letters. Our followers are rising.
Why, thank you, Igor.
I wonder if he could be a beekeeper, like the real IRL, like raising bees beekeeper for us.
That seems like
it'd be a good summer hobby for him. You know?
Yeah.
You know, I'm curious. So I meant to ask you if you had diligently done the research. How many bee stings were suffered during the making of The Beekeeper? Or were there any bees actually used in the
None.
Statham said that the scenes where he's interacting with the beehive, there's real bees because he learned how to like be a beekeeper. He trained to be a beekeeper for the movie. So all that stuff is real. Beyond that, I don't know. There's actually not a ton of like trivia. Or the movie hasn't been out long enough, I guess. But there's like the trivia is pretty sparse on the movie. It's a bummer.
Also,
I need more.
When everything's digital, you have really nothing to talk about. So,
yeah. Well, okay. So when he's actually in the bee suit dealing with actual bees. All right. We should let the good folks at home know how they can participate on this interactive portion of our show by following along on Facebook.
Facebook.com/Saturday Night Freak Show.
Or X.
Fuck X. @Sat Freak Show.
Or by email.
Saturday Night Freak Show Yahoo.com.
Or on Threads and Instagram @Saturday Night Freak Show about The Beekeeper. Militime writes in and says Statham is the same in every movie. Pass.
Well, I mean, it's true. Yeah. From what little I've seen. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, you either like his stuff or you don't.
Yeah,
you know?
I think there's.
that is it.
Yeah, you have a
really
flavor, and he
either
is
like, or you don't.
Yeah,
you know what you're getting when you buy the ticket. You know,
right.
Michael Whitaker says this is pretty much just great, no-brainer popcorn movie action. In my opinion, this is probably his best action character since The Transporter. It's all just fun crap. It does make me wonder what is more fun to do creatively, the nonsense it takes to create superhero stuff or the nonsense it takes to create super spy / elite government assassin stuff.
That's a great question. I mean, there's. Wow, what is that like?
Maybe it's just a taste.
Yeah.
You know, like
that might be different flavors, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, we all, he said that, and I was just like, that's going to go into my wrap up. Like, we all love a certain flavor of nonsense.
Yeah.
And it just depends what nonsense you like.
Even when you think of Ayer's Suicide Squad, it is kind of like militaristic.
Yeah, he loves cop content.
Oh yeah,
he loves a group. He loves an organization. Yeah, going in for it. Yeah.
So the Dirty Dozen, we're saying, is like one of his favorite movies. James Boyce writes in and says, I watched The Beekeeper entirely based on the goodwill of the podcast. I spent a lot of time expecting them to drop the whole beekeeper shtick.
Nope.
Like, okay, he holds a secret communicator in his beehive. I got it, moving on. But 80 minutes later, the CIA and the FBI and the cartel are having interdisciplinary meeting on the function of hive mechanics, and I am laughing hysterically. Yes. Overall, it has great dad energy and wonderfully hateable villains, and while it's incredibly stupid, that's actually an asset of the film.
Yeah, I agree.
2 weeks ago, we watched a movie called Time Cop.
Talk about stupid.
we were talking about the thing that looks like the Cybertruck but wasn't.
Yeah.
And the Kryptonian orphan says it looks like a Johnny Cab from Total Recall.
Oh, okay.
I forgot about
All
Johnny
the all
Cab.
the
Total
future
Recall keeps
cars.
coming up a lot.
Yeah.
SD Costume Guy says, "Gosh, the sequel I thought was horrible. The first one's very, very good."
What were
Time
we
Cop?
talking
Time
about?
Cop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you watched the sequel? Oh.
We didn't even mention there was a TV show.
Oh, wow.
I know
Was
we
there?
put it on
Wow.
our social media, but yeah, there's a Time
And I know
Cop.
there was a
forgot
TV
about
show.
that. Oh.
Dave Forbes said, I didn't really enjoy Time Cop, even as a kid. Not enough kung fu fighting and failed to play off Van Damme's natural goofiness and charisma. Lucas Accardo says, leather and mullets. Oh, he was talking about, so the goons,
toughs, yeah.
from the future. How do you
Yeah.
know they're leather and mullets? Definitely time travelers.
Yep.
Dolph Lundgren learned the hard way in I Come in Peace, a movie that won the Oscar for best movie ever that year.
I love how
I still want, I still want to watch I Come in Peace. Like, I
you
wasn't.
could have done it for a redo episode,
Yeah, we
but
did
you
an
burned it
episode
on
on that.
I
Time
know.
Cop.
Yeah.
Gotta wait till next year,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
Peace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie's
We'll get
great.
there.
I've never seen it. I know. I really
Really?
want to see it. Yeah.
No,
I know.
it came when, Colin gives a furtive
Colin's
look.
pick for next week just changed.
Meatball Tree says,
I encourage you in that look you gave us. I encourage you.
I Come in Peace.
Continue on.
Meatball Tree
Wait, meatballs.
says, I always thought the least believable part of this movie, Time Cop, was anyone in 2004 taking Jean-Claude Van Damme seriously with that mullet.
I
go.
mean, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not. He's had bigger mullets. It's not too bad. Like, this is.
It's just it was 1994, and
Yeah.
and then he was going to 2004 with a 1994
Yeah, right,
mullet.
true. All right,
Yeah,
there it
that's
is.
what they're
Future
saying.
mullet.
Yeah.
Future, yeah, there we go.
Tim Hall 7 says, I really like this movie. It's one of JCVD's better ones. And Awful Pitch Ideas says, quote unquote, please explain to me the physics of this Time Cop, said no audience member ever. We're talking about, I think we were asking about the physics of Time Cop.
Being thrust into the future
Yeah.
and the tentacle that brought
Yeah.
you back.
Yeah. And
Maybe he's
slamming
making
into a
fun.
wall, you
Maybe he's making fun of me for explaining it. Which, bravo to you if that's what you're doing.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you, each of you, for writing in. We really
Yes, thank you very much.
appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
And now, the moment you have all been waiting for.
Mhm.
We're going to go around the table and tell you what we thought of The Beekeeper, starting with
Colin, just because I don't want to go first. What did you think of The Beekeeper?
well, I mean, trying to narrow down that's what the fascination for me is this specific genre of movie that appeals to, I think, a primarily male audience, where we see I know that you love it,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it
It has
is
a masculine energy to it. Yeah.
because it's trying to it's a male fantasy that I think,
Revenge fantasy.
well,
Yeah.
part of it, yeah, but also, like you can walk into a room and disarm guys and not have to
Right.
worry about being, because you're just that good. You're like this
Is that
ultra
specifically male?
super-
I mean, I agree that it
I don't know,
is
is
more
it?
geared towards men.
I can't
yes.
say I've had the hand-to-hand combat fantasy.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
yeah, no, I don't think so.
it is geared more
Yeah.
towards.
Yeah. And then this whole idea of we trust these people who work outside of the law in the movies, right? Because we know, because I think I talked about this in it was the Invasion USA episode where we trust Chuck Norris. He just goes out and tends to alligators, but when his country needs him, he shows up and fucking kills everybody.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Because he's doing it for a good, cause.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do dig these movies. It's just kind of watching which ones do it better than others.
Yeah.
The reason that I like The Beekeeper, I think I said earlier, I think the biggest winning reason to it is that it knows that it's stupid. I mean, the dialogue in it, the whole movie could function seriously with just a little nudge as a parody of action movies.
Yeah.
And so because that kind of gives you a license to appreciate it in a way that not that I don't appreciate the other ones, but there becomes like a lot of sameness to them, and they get kind of serious.
A lot of them are self-serious. John Wick
know?
especially is so serious.
Yeah, but it has like.
I mean, it earns it, but
so is the
John Wick has like the action choreography in that is like this kind of ballet that I think elevates that one. So you're like, okay, that's like the crown jewel of this type of, and everybody's kind of copying, riffing on it. But this one is a pretty good clone of John Wick. Like if you like John Wick, this is different, but it's going to give you that same kind of action movie thrills and, through line of the guy who he was out until they pulled him back in. I got no problems with Statham. I mean, I guess the guy's a blank slate.
He is.
Like when I watch him.
But that's good for him in that you can put any of these characters and traits and motivations onto him and make that movie.
Yeah, I think that's it. He's like the action everyman of the moment. You can, see yourself in like I wish, I was
so
cool,
much so that they're
Jason
literally
Statham.
making a movie called Working Man.
Oh yeah,
A Working Man. Yep.
So, but yeah, I mean, the action, the I had a lot of fun with it. So I would recommend it. Sean, what did you think?
So is the more parody version I Spy? It's the Statham with Melissa McCarthy. It's directed
I never
by
saw that.
Paul
I didn't see
Feig.
it.
So
Okay.
I assume so. I haven't seen it.
Okay, because
Where he's the straight man she's the comedy.
right,
foil,
but
right?
it is all ridiculous. Where he's like,
I wonder if that would be as successful because you're trying to get like the date night audience, right? They come for the Statham kicking ass and but it's funny.
Right, but it's more funny in that. All right, this movie. Any problem I have with this movie is it's just me in the fact that I kind of avoid these types of movies, and so it's just me kind of getting used to the fact that like we've all said, like if these movies came out 30 years ago, I'd be more for it. And I'd be all up for the action and the ridiculousness and the sort of
only watching it from a nostalgic point of view, though. You're saying
I think. As far as the older movies?
Yeah, watching them now versus watching them when they were new.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is, it's a ridiculous movie, like the bee puns, like I think, and because I haven't seen a lot of Statham's movies, except for mostly what we watched here, I think.
Which is one other movie, right?
I don't watch a lot of Statham movies. I think I saw Crank way late.
Crank, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta see Crank, like the Transporter.
Right.
I haven't seen the Transporter and like
the Death Race remake.
The what?
The Death Race remake.
Haven't seen it.
He's in that.
Yeah, he's in that.
Well, like
the Italian Job.
Italian Job is the one that I keep going back to. It's like that's a good movie that he's
it's
in.
a heist movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking.
I like this Guy Ritchie stuff. Yeah. Wasn't he also in Revolver?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Snatch, he was in because to me he was the Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah.
Guy for a while.
Right.
Yes.
But see, I haven't seen any of that shit. Like it's passed me by, or I've skipped it, or for what have you, for whatever reason. Yeah, I don't know. I have an issue with just these sorts of movies. I know they're ridiculous. I know they're not supposed to be taken as seriously as like I take movies. Like again, any problem is me. But it is a movie called The Beekeeper. Like I have to realize what the movie is. It's a movie called The Beekeeper, and there's so many bee puns. He is protecting the hive. Like if this is what you dig and what you're into, like it is all here for you. And I think you will enjoy it. I mean, I got enjoyment out of this. I laughed at certain things because they are ridiculous. But like I don't necessarily like the cop characters. Like they have funny moments, but they're just they come in to be like, here's what the situation is. There's this, and this. Oh, like we go to the next one. Like there's no I know there's maybe not supposed to be any substance to these movies, but the fact that there is no substance to these movies, like I wouldn't sit down and watch this on my own. Like and that's a problem for me.
That's why we have the pod, though.
I know,
the whole point of the experience.
I know. And so
we get that perspective.
Yeah.
Of like,
and so I struggle, and I know how I should see these movies when we bring them to the podcast, but because I don't have a lot of experience with them, like it's just I dismiss them, and maybe that's my fault. Maybe that's to my I would enjoy things more if I would just accept them as they were. I don't know. I have a problem with these movies. They're just not fun for me. When the action and the violence becomes inconsequential, I dismiss it offhand because there's no.
But that's every Marvel movie too.
I don't know.
The violence is inconsequential.
I disagree with that, or at least maybe after a certain level of them.
If a person dies in those movies, it is the talk of the fandom for a decade because it happens so infrequently. Like those movies, there's no stakes for those.
But that's
either.
Impact. That's if they talk about it forever because someone dies, then that's
because it so rarely happens. Like I'm saying, like the violence not having an impact is also a problem in every other genre of movie. Is what I'm saying. Like your complaint with Deadpool and Wolverine was that it's two guys beating each other up, they can't die.
Yeah, I have a problem with that, and so it lessens.
I'm just saying it's not unique to this genre.
I agree. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But
we love horror movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that same thing there.
Again, it's right, and it's a weird thing when you apply logic from one thing to another, and you're just like, it doesn't make sense because you like these. So like, you're right. It doesn't make sense, but there's just certain ones that are just like, there is entertainment value to be like gained from these movies. But yeah, if I wasn't sat down and made to watch them, I wouldn't because they just don't. They don't. The impact, it doesn't hit for me. I don't know what it is. Again, it's all me, and I'm sure many people will find have and will find entertainment from these movies. I just don't on a certain level, and if you like Statham, I recommend it for you because you'll find something. But yeah, I won't recommend it just because it's feels like empty calories to me, and it's just something I'm not.
It's not your taste.
It's just not my taste. Yeah. Like I just don't go for them. I don't try and watch these movies. But I don't know. Maybe if I'm forced to watch enough of them, it'll change. I don't know. But I'll skip the Beekeeper. But it's very thin because it is a movie called The Beekeeper, and there's so many bee puns, and there's just that theme that keeps going. But it's not enough. I don't know. I'll skip it. So I won't recommend it for you, Michaela.
Did you guys know there was a sequel to The Mechanic? Yeah. I had no idea.
Wait, with him in it?
Yeah.
The Mechanic is a remake because I saw the original Charles Bronson one, and then
he is like our Charles Bronson, right? He's the closest we got, probably, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's like the modern day Bronson or Chuck Norris or somebody.
Is it just called The Mechanic 2?
It's called Mechanic Resurrection.
Did he die in the first one?
I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to guess he died in the first one because the ridiculousness of it would be him being resurrected.
So I'm not super well versed on Statham stuff. I don't like go down for a lot of it. Like I don't watch any of the Fast movies because I don't care. And like I've never really. I think I've seen The Transporter. I think I've seen like the big ones. I didn't care for Crank. The Meg, I mean, we did an episode on that. That was just so disappointing. This is probably my favorite Statham movie, probably maybe even my favorite David Ayer movie. I mean, it's a low bar because I just haven't seen a ton of Statham, and also David Ayer makes a lot of bad movies. So it's a low bar, but I did not expect it to commit to the bee theme so heavily and so consistently throughout the movie. Like, I thought it was just like kind of a placeholder title to make the same kind of Statham movie over and over again, which it is, but they add that stylization to it that I think makes it interesting. And I would love them to do like a Mad Lib style Jason Statham movie like this forever. Like, we draw out of a hat, like, he's a magician this time. Okay, and Statham is the magician. Yeah.
And that should be part of we make filmmakers make a certain movie every year. Steven Spielberg's Jason Statham's
the magician.
The magician. Yeah. And again, if you get Mad Libbed enough, I'm in.
And he like actually saw someone in half, right? And Jason Statham's the magician. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, see, if they apply this logic to every one of his movies here on out, where we're going to take the theme as far as we can possibly fucking take it, I want to see. That's why I'm really hoping A Working Man is too, just based on the trailer and knowing that Stallone wrote it. Oh my God, I can't wait to see Working Man, because even if it's bad, it's going to be amazing. So
see, the Stallone of that was like, ooh, all right, I want to know what all this combined is like.
And so, yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I had fun with it. I like that it took like 3 movies worth of final acts and crammed them into like most of the movie. It is a little bloated, and it could definitely go a little shorter. But at the same time, I would watch a director's cut that was longer. I do feel like I do feel like there are subplots completely cut out or that were supposed to happen differently. Like all the stuff with the daughter FBI agent feels like a chop job or like something went horribly wrong here. I bet there's a lot of scrapped Beekeeper content that I would like to watch. I'll go see the sequel. I'll go see A Working Man. I enjoyed it. I have fun. I am able to suspend my disbelief in a way that allows me to enjoy these movies still. And if that is you, I think you'll enjoy it because it's just so stupid. And I like the thing is like those fast movies take themselves so seriously. A lot of Statham's other stuff is so self-serious that I'm fine with him playing it straight and being serious, but I want the movie around him to realize how stupid it is.
Yeah,
and this movie does.
Yeah.
So that's why I like it because I do like that it is a little winky and it is a little self-aware, but it still gives you the violence and all the crazy shit you come for and bee puns on top of it all. So, I love it. I had a great time with it. It's one of my favorite movies from last year.
I hope Beekeeper 2 is everything you wanted. Is it just Beekeeper 2? Will they have a subtitle? I wonder.
No working information yet. I want to know.
So that's what I think we said last time. We were talking about
the hitman's wife's beekeeper.
Yeah, the hitman's wife's
hornets. Yeah, I think we were talking about it on the Meg, but the thing that I have always thought, like that's, like Statham does have that kind of track record. Like you said, it's like he's known for the certain type of movie.
Yep.
He's always going to, like a Liam Neeson movie, or like, the old man Liam Neeson movie. It's like, you know what you're getting when you go in there. He's never had like that character that you associate with him where it's like he's, the signature Jason Statham role.
He's just bald and gruff.
He's just, it's like he's the same,
Yeah.
Does he get his JCVD part? Like where the self...
Oh, I hope so. I would love that.
Where he comes to terms with everything he's done over the years, like
or the sidekicks, where like all the just the kid wants to be Jason Statham.
where
and you acknowledge
a recognition of who, acknowledging who you are. Yeah.
I'm hoping
we'll get there. He'll get there.
But you're right. It's probably
he'll get there.
I Statham.
How old? Ooh.
there it is.
Jason Statham?
He's gonna be in his 60s, right?
Yeah. I would have said like 56 just based on watching this, but.
Yeah. We'll find out.
All right. Well, that is
57.
There you go.
There we go.
I mean, Tom Cruise is like 61, and he's still jumping out of planes.
That's very true.
Statham can keep going, as far as I'm concerned, for another couple of years.
Just watch the.
I mean, how old is Liam Neeson, and he's doing this stuff?
Yeah. He's got to be almost 70, right?
Yeah. He's got to be. I would say 70. I'll say Liam Neeson is 71.
But Statham is still making theatrical films.
Yep. Very true.
So
very true.
I think he's like,
this went to theaters. Everybody,
it did.
This went to theaters and made a shit ton of money.
And Working Man's going to theaters.
Oh,
so like he is he has a
Beekeeper
brand.
2 is going to theater.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the Beekeeper. Next week we're going to be watching a movie that's chosen by
God. What are we going to watch next week?
So you loved it so much when I brought Resident Evil.
No.
Wait. What?
To the podcast.
Did you?
Because I play these horror video games. Resident Evil 3. Yeah.
You brought 3. Okay.
But you love that so much. So now we're gonna go to Silent Hill.
Ooh, okay.
Next week. Just the first one.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm worried.
Well, there's a new one coming out.
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited.
But we had a sequel to that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're
We'll get into it.
next week.
All right, Silent Hill. Okay.
Silent Hill next week.
All right.
On the Saturday Night Freak Show. We hope you'll join us. And until then, ladies and germs, the basement is going dark.